Okay, so there's a lot of pros, quite a few cons when it comes to job swaps and job rotations. I would say some of the immediate pros that I can think of would be things like skill development, gaining new skills with these different opportunities, something along the lines of broader perspective with an organization. If you have a broader perspective, um, by working these multiple different jobs, it can actually help you in the long run because the individuals in that company are going to be able to have a more diverse skill set. There's ultimately more of an motivation, more engagement. I think that has something to do with the fact that they're able to work a job that they might like more. Um, Overall, there's better talent identification because if you have constant people switching between jobs, then that kind of opens the opportunity for you to kind of narrow down who's good at what within that organization. But there's a lot of cons too. So there is a learning curve. If you're constantly switching between different jobs, then the amount of time that it's going to take to learn those specific tasks for the different job might be longer because you're not tenure in that field. And if you're constantly rotating in a company, it's going to be really hard for people to find a stable position and really just focus and hone in on those individual skills, which is actually another thing is that there's not much stability. You know that the job's probably going to change. You're going to have different tasks, things that you're not used to, things that make you uncomfortable. So that's another con is that people just get more uncomfortable when they're constantly swapping. Could cause disruption of teams. That is because if you're switching teams, they might not all work. You're going to find a team that doesn't necessarily work well together, but unfortunately that's just going to be inevitable. It's unavoidable when it comes to job swaps rotations. There's also the potential for confusion when it comes to information. But yeah, so if I were to manage a business, I would offer this position as optional. I would not say it's required. The specific job that I would suggest this for is any detailed job or something that deals with the analytical data, numbers, things along those lines, because those are complicated tasks when you're dealing with numbers, specifically like finance or jobs related to finance. I would say that if somebody's not doing a good job in the financial field, then they could look into a potential different opportunity within that company that they might be better at. That being said, I think this is a better alternative than just laying them off because they're not doing their job. And that's why I think it's important that that is optional. That way they can express, hey, I'm able to do this other job better than I can do this job. I can still be of use to the company. So yeah, I would say that making sure that it's optional, not required, because if it's required, then they're going to get stuck in a situation. It's going to reduce productivity. They're going to be stuck with a team or a job that they don't like. What happens is then you have a high turnover rate. So yeah, dealing with detailed information, data, numbers, anything that's complicated, and this can extend to things like physical labor as well. If somebody is not, let's say something happens, if they are, when they first get the job, they are capable of doing a physical job, but something happens, they're no longer physically able to do that same job, so then they should have the option to move to an alternative job, but still work for the company.